Hey yo guys, welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you our first impressions of Firepower by Judas Priest. Alright guys, so Judas Priest is dropping a brand new album today. We're gonna go listen to it for the first time in its entirety, but before we do that, TV Fish, I want to know what you're expecting from this.
Well, Judas Priest is not really a band that I'm huge into. I really like this band a lot. Every time I listen to them, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking cool. You know, listening to Painkiller, oh wow, this album's great. Ram It Down, this album's great. I listened to Redeemer of Souls, which is their most recent one, which I don't want to say it sounds like a parody of themselves, but it has its moments.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, this could either be another, you know, it's not really what they used to be, but I'm not sure, or it could knock us out of the park. You never know.
Right.
It could go either way, I feel, with this album.
Yeah, I feel similar. You know, I'll say I'm a much bigger Judas Priest fan than you are. Probably about, I don't know, maybe close to 15 years ago, I really got into Judas Priest, got all their albums, really got into them. You know, became a huge fan. And then, like Nostradamus came out in like, what, 2013 or something like that. I hated that album. I thought it was such a disappointment. Redeemer of Souls had its ups and downs, like you said. It had some peaks and some valleys, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't as bad as Nostradamus to me. So I think that, I mean, this has potential. It always does, but this is probably going to be the last album we see from Judas Priest, I think. So hopefully they kind of go out with a bang. We're going to find out, because we're going to go listen to it right now for the first time in its entirety, and we'll be back to let you guys know what we think about it. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Alright guys, we just listened to Firepower by Judas Priest for the first time in its entirety, and I'm going to open up the floor and say that this album is really good. I was impressed. You know, after listening to Redeemer of Souls, I'm like, okay, that kind of feels like they're getting a little bit tired.
Yeah.
You know, from doing their whole thing for how many years.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised with Firepower. It kicks off and it's just already in your face and it feels great. It does not feel tired. That's one thing I was scared of. Are these guys like tired and out of the energy they had? But I was proven wrong.
I agree.
And
lots of energy on this.
My highest rated track was I don't know, there was a lot of tracks on this album. 14, yeah, Trader's Gate. The riff on this song felt amazing to listen to, and the solo was incredible. And you know what? I found that I was writing those notes constantly for every song. This riff is sick. I love listening to this. Oh wow, that was a great solo, like over and over and over. So it's really cool to see that they can consistently make grooves that aren't overly technical, but they're still so much fun to listen to.
That song had a really cool build-up intro. Where I think it started off, it was either, was it a piano or maybe an acoustic guitar? I don't remember exactly, but it was very slow, very mellow. And then all of a sudden, like, it kicks in, you know, another instrument kicks in, it's one of those build-up
kind of puts all the pieces
and
together.
then it just gets in there, it's like, bam, it just fucking goes at it.
Speaking of that, the intro to Never the Heroes, oh, that was a great intro, because it starts with like a kind of synthesizer, and then you just hear the drums just go down the toms, but the sound of the drums is so deep sounding, it creates such a thunderous atmosphere, and then the song kicks in, and it just strikes you like a hammer.
I'm pretty sure they were synth drums too.
It could be, yeah.
That's why they sounded kind of odd. It was, the whole intro had this synth vibe to it. But yeah, you're right. It just, the way he went down the toms, and it seemed like a big drum kit he was playing, because there was a lot of toms. But just this epic roll, and then bam, kicks into the song.
Yeah,
very cool.
It's so simple, but it sounded so cool to listen to.
Yeah.
Like, it first happened, I'm thinking, wow, that was sick.
Yeah.
My lowest rated song was probably Rising from Ruins, for the main reason that I feel like it drags on a bit much. And that's another thing about this album, is that a lot of these songs aren't very long. They're around like 3-4 minutes-ish, but there's so much content in them, they actually feel like they're way longer than they actually are.
Yeah.
Rising from Ruins is like getting close to 6-ish minutes. I think it's like 5.5.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's also the 8th song, so it's kind of like just past the halfway mark. And it's the first song on my notes, I wrote this, the first song I'm not really feeling. So every other song I was into, and this is the first one where I kind of dipped down. Like, for track 8, I think that's pretty good. If you could stay, you know, hyped for 8 tracks and then finally go, I'm kind of feeling a little bit fatigued because this track's a little bit lower on the energy, I think that's pretty good. I think that's in a good spot for that type of track. But I agree with you. It was one of my lower rated tracks too.
Yeah. Another thing to mention about Never the Heroes is that, you know, typically on the albums that we review, there's always, you know, the first few tracks being like high energy or very, very intense, and then the energy is brought down like a chill out kind of
Usually
song.
around track 4.
Yeah, around
5.
4 or 5-ish. And, you know, we were listening to it before we even got to Never the Heroes, and we're like, okay, which one's going to be the chill out track? And I'm like, okay, track 4. And I was right. And I think this is a perfect example of a chill out song that's done properly.
Yeah.
We do talk a lot about the albums on our channel where we're like, oh, you know, it kind of just dips down too hard, it's hard to get back up, like it kills the vibe, not as much energy. I think Never the Heroes is a perfect example of how to keep the energy intact, but slowing down the tempo and making things a lot more relaxed, but keeping the energy inside.
Yeah, it's a really cool song. Yeah.
So how about you?
So yeah, like let me just go to the song that I rated the highest was Spectre, which is the 10th song on the album. The grooves on this song were just so good. I was just so into it. I was like, yes, this fucking rocks. And you know what? I kind of had that mentality throughout a lot of this album. These guys are writing riffs still to this day. We're talking like, what, 4 decades worth of music writing? They're still writing riffs that feel fresh. I'm not talking, there's nothing like technically superior, nothing that's gonna blow your mind or anything like that, but it's stuff that just still, it doesn't sound like it's anything that's rehashed or anything that you've heard before. It's still fresh and original sounding, and I find that very impressive that these guys, these old men, can write stuff like that and still keep going and make it consistent. But yeah, Spectre had one of the best solos on the album. Rob sounded great. Rob sounded great through this whole album. I want to put that out there too. Rob sounds great. He did, as far as the high notes go, I know he's known for the high voice. He hits it sometimes.
Not much though.
Not much. It's kind of sprinkled here and there. But and it's also not as powerful as epic as it used to be, but you don't expect it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, his time is done as far as doing the painkiller style vocals. It just, you can't do it for your whole life. But when he does hit those spots, even though it's not quite as good as it used to be, it's still good. And he still, you know, gets the point across. He sounds great otherwise. There's some good diversity in vocals. He's not always singing the same voice. He's got a few parts that are kind of almost like, I don't want to say talky parts, but there's a couple parts like that. He changes up his vocal styling here and there, which is very good. Everything else, if you know Judas Priest at all, you will hear it on this album. There's dueling guitar solos, there's some nice drum work, some double kick work here and there. You know, it's just very driving riffs, driving grooves, and overall it felt like a proper Judas Priest album. Like Redeemer of Souls, like we said, Redeemer of Souls had ups and downs. This one had maybe like a couple small downs, but mostly ups.
Yes.
This was a very good album in my opinion. It definitely surprised me for a first impression. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
to be
same.
honest.
I'm glad that it kind of went more up. Because I said, you know, this is really a 50-50. Either it's going to be tired or this is going to shoot to the roof. And I'm glad that it's looking a lot more up.
Yeah.
But that's about it here for our first impression of Firepower. We're both going to have this on full rotation, listening to this album backwards and forwards throughout the entire week.
Yep.
And we will be back in 1 week to give our final review of this album. So guys, that's it. Remember to like if you like this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We got all this metal stuff coming very soon. And comment, tell us what you thought of Firepower and what you thought of Judas Priest recently. Because that would be interesting to hear you guys' thoughts.
Of course.
Anyway, I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
And we'll see you guys later.
Later, guys.